Hello everyone, welcome. I am Amy, the creator of Work Smart Math and a highly experienced private math tutor. Before watching this video, I suggest you check out a video I created on how to solve linear equations if you are feeling a bit rusty. This video builds on that. We are going to solve a group of linear equations of more than one variables. Such groups are referred as simultaneous equations. The word simultaneous means the values of the variables or the solutions satisfy not just one, but all the equations in the group, like simultaneously. Enough said. Let's take a look at this example. The method is to reduce the number of variables and the number of equations to what we can actually solve. And there are different ways of doing it. I'm going to show you two different methods in two different examples. For this one, let me first label these equations. I like to do this because it really simplifies my working, which you'll see in a second. If we move 2x from equation 1 to the right-hand side of the equal sign, we can make y the subject very easily. Remember to change the sign of 2x to negative and label this equation number 3. And then we can substitute number 3 into equation number 2. Remember to replace y with 6 minus 2x. And now we've got one equation with only one variable x, which we know how to solve. Expand the brackets, move things around, and then we get x equals 1. If you're unsure how we got this answer, please feel free to check my other video on how to solve linear equations. Now, we're almost there. We just need to find out what y is. We can substitute x equals 1 into any of the equations above, and I will go for number 3 because it's more straightforward for me to work out what y is. Okay, problem solved. As you can see, all we did was making one variable the subject and then substitute that variable into the other equation and find out the value of the other variable. And then we can substitute that value to find out the value of the variable that was eliminated. I'm going to show you another example. Now, please feel free to pause the video and give it a go if you like. Alright, again, let's label these equations, number 1 and number 2. Well, we can move things around and to make either x or y the subject, and then do what we did earlier to find out the value of x and y. That method will work for this one as well. But there is an easy way. What we can do is to do operations on the equations. That's right, operations of equations. Let me show you what I mean. In order to eliminate one of the variables, in this case, again, let's go with y. You can eliminate x if you want, but I'm just going to stick with y here. All I need to do is to make the coefficients of y in both equations equal. Coefficients of a variable is the number that is multiplied with the variable, or the number that is in front of the variable. So in equation 1, the coefficient y is 2, and it's negative 3 in equation 2. To make them the same is to find the smallest common multiple. Why smallest? Well, it's always better to work with smaller numbers because it reduces the risk of making any mistakes. If you're unsure how to find smallest common multiple, please check out my other video on how to add and subtract fractions. Okay, let's get started with this one. The smallest common multiple of 2 and 3 is 6. So we need to multiply equation number 1 with 3. When we do that, we multiply everything in equation 1 with 3 to keep the equation balanced. And let's call that equation number 3. Now, equation number 2 needs to multiply with 2. And let's call that equation number 4. The next step is to do the operation of equation number 3 and number 4. In order to get rid of y, I can just simply add 3 and 4. So you can imagine there is a little plus here, and we're doing an addition of the two equations. Imagine there are two numbers, and we go from the left to the right. Positive 6y minus 6y is 0. And then we can solve for x, which is also 0. Now, once we find out what x is, we can work out y by substituting this value into any of the original equations, either 1 or 2. Always go with the one with the smaller numbers. In this case, because x is going to be 0, so it doesn't matter which number it's multiplying with. But I'm just going to go with equation 1 because the numbers are a little bit smaller. And this gives me 2y equals 12, which again is y equals 6. Okay. Problem solved. You can check the answer by putting them back into the original equations and see if two sides are equal. Are you ready for a challenge? In front of you, there are 3 equations with 3 variables. Please feel free to pause the video and give it a go. All right. The method is the same. Reduce the number of variables and the number of equations. We have seen 2 different ways of eliminating variables. It's really up to you which one you prefer. In this question, some of you may think it's easier to use elimination method number 1 by making either A or B the subject because their coefficients are 1. We can do that, but then we have to substitute that long expression into either equation 1 or 3, and things can get a little bit messy. So personally, I would use the operation of equations to eliminate one of the variables first. Let's say eliminating A, and I'm going to show you in a second. To find the smallest common multiple, we just need to multiply equation 2 with 4. It's quite easy when the coefficient is 1, isn't it? Make sure you multiply everything in the equation with 4. Let's call this equation number 4. Now, 4a and 4a here. So we go 1, take away 4. 4a, 4a cancel each other out. Let's call this number 5. Let's repeat this and multiply equation 2 with 3. And call this equation number 6. Then you can use 3 minus 6. So 3a, 3a, cancel each other out. And we have 6b, take away 16c, equals 48. Let's call that equation number 7. Alright, now we have 2 new equations with only 2 variables. And you can solve these like what we have done earlier. And I'll leave it to you to do the rest. Once you have found out the value of b and c, you can substitute them back into any of these 3 original equations to work out a. Personally, I will go with equation 2 because the numbers are much smaller. Therefore, easier calculation. So please feel free to check your answer with mine. I have a equals 2, b equals 0, and c equals -3. If you found this video helpful, please give me a thumb up and subscribe to my channel for more. I also offer online tutoring lessons that can be easily booked at www.worksmartmath.com. Why work harder when you can work smarter? See you next time.